evening, everyone. Can I please see a raise of hand for those who've done online schooling before? Quite a few of you. Okay, I guess I don't have to ask for those who've done face-to-face schooling before, classroom schooling. We've all done that at some point in our lives, unless you were born sometime last year. Today, we will be discussing e-learning, classroom learning, and their differences. The main objective of my speech today is to define e-learning, define classroom learning, and highlight their differences. Let's start by defining e-learning. According to the Economics Time English edition, e-learning is a system based on formalized teaching with the help of electronic resources. And let's define classroom learning. According to IGI Global Dictionary, classroom learning is a space in which teachers provide face-to-face instructions to students. Now that we've discussed what e-learning and classroom learning is, let's talk about their differences. According to Stafford Global General Article and blogs, 5 differences between e-learning and classroom learning are: 1, interaction. All right, interaction is when we communicate between a group of people or 2 people. We have different types of interaction. As you can see, we have physical interaction and non-physical interaction. As it relates to e-learning and classroom learning, for e-learning, we have non-physical interaction, which is virtual, but for classroom learning, it's face-to-face physical interaction. All right? Our second difference is 24/7 access to learning material. Learning materials are basically materials that provides information on what we ought to learn in school, right? For example, we have modules, we have recorded sessions, we have assignments. So the differences between e-learning and classroom learning as it relates to access to learning materials are: for e-learning, we have 24/7 access to those materials, but for classroom learning, we have to wait on a specific time and place to meet with a tutor to get these information, okay? And let's move on to our third difference. Our third difference is practicing new concept while studying. Okay, this is basically demonstrating or applying what we're learning in school at our current job. So as it relates to e-learning, university students are mostly working students. So they are able to apply what they're learning in school immediately at work. But for the classroom students, they are mostly committed to school. So because they are committed to school only, they are unable to work at the same time. So they would have to wait until they complete their studies before they can apply what they've learned in school on the job. Okay? And now we're gonna move on to our fourth difference. Our fourth difference is assessments. Assessment is basically an action of making a judgment of something, right? And we have different types of assessment. We have invigilated assessments and we have unsupervised assessments, right? And you know, for e-learning students, most of the time our assessments are unsupervised, but for the e-learning students, most of the time there's someone looking over our shoulders. All right, and last but not least, our final difference is agility. Agility means moving freely, 24/7, flexibility, right? And when we talk about flexibility, we talk about online learning, right? So for the differences between e-learning and classroom learning as it relates to agility for e-learning, you can access class from anywhere in the world at any time, no matter your time zone. You can be in Japan, you can be in Australia, you can be in Jamaica, and you can still access school here in America with internet access, of course. But for the classroom learning, you have to be there face to face, physically, at a specific time, right? At a specific place for school. So those are my 5 differences between e-learning and classroom learning. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, we've talked about e-learning, classroom learning, and we've highlighted their differences. Thank you very much for listening to my speech. I hope you've learned something today from my e-learning session. Waynisha Stockpole is my name, CST 100 is my grade, and I just presented to you my informative speech. Thank you.